Hey, everybody, what's up? So, I'm going live. In this one, I think it's going to be the most epic parent-led discussion ever. And so I'm going to wait for Ashley Marie, a special education parent of Lawrence, who is going to come here and we're going to have this dialogue about this, relaxation room. And I'm curious to know, what you guys feel about this. So I'm going to wait for Ashley to join us because from the time that I seen this morning, I can honestly say my blood pressure has been through the roof. I'm highly disappointed as a parent. And, I want this amazing mom who had, who's courageous to literally put this all out on the table. So she's about to join us. Yes. All right, here we go. And she's coming. Let's add. What's up, girl? Hi.
I'm sorry.
Does everybody see her? Can everybody tell me if they see her?
Can you guys see
Hopefully
me?
they see you. I think they see you. I see you. Okay, so we have some watchers. Yeah, let's see if they see you. So, Mama, first of all, okay, Julia, thank you. I appreciated that. So, one, I want to thank you. I really want to say thank you for being so transparent, because you and I both know that being a special education parent and having kids with challenges, we are not always very transparent about the stuff that we go through with the schools. You know what I mean? Because it's always one thing after another. I think she's driving, Julia. Yeah, I kind of, I want to hear about this. So I want you to kind of introduce yourself to us and tell us a little bit about you, and let us know what's going on with this, relaxation room.
Okay. Can you guys see me now? I pulled over so I can talk to you guys.
Okay.
So I live down in Lawrence, Massachusetts, and I have 4 kids, and 2 of them are already diagnosed with issues. One of them has issues, and she goes to the relaxation room often, and she has had a lot going on in her life. She had seizures when she was little. She has mood behavioral disorder. She has ADHD, severe PTSD, because we did go through domestic issues. And there's a lot of things. Like, we see neurology, we see psychology, and they've all said she's autistic, but we're waiting for the Autism Sprinter to call us back so we can go out and finish her testing. If you meet her, you could see there's something different about her. She's very high on the spectrum. She's very functionable. She's very smart. She's very, very advanced. She reads on a 4th grade level, and she's 1st grade. Like, she's a great kid. She's lovely, but she has her behavior issues. And I went back when she was probably like 2 or 3 and started the IEP, and I have been going back and forth with the school. She's been in therapy since she was 3 years old with children's friends and family, and they're the ones who've been helping me. And it's like, she did this testing, and the lady that did the testing on her, she had a meltdown while she was doing it. And it's like, you can tell she has behavioral issues and that she needs to be on an IEP, but they denied her. They gave her a 5-on-4 instead. And I was like, all right, not knowing what it is and not knowing anything about the IEP or anything, being a single mom, I was like, all right, whatever, she's getting some help. And she went to the LEAP program. They were amazing with her. And then she switched over to the Community Day Arlington. And I have another child who's special needs, but she's sweet and she's just developmentally delayed. And it's like, they do so fantastic with her. But when it comes to Juliana and her behavioral issues, it's like they're incapable of giving her what she needs.
How old is Juliana?
Huh?
How old is Juliana?
She's 7. She just turned
October. And what grade is she in?
She's in 1st grade.
Okay.
She's at the cutoff, so she's back a grade. So
Yeah, my sons too. Yeah.
And it's a lot. Like, I get calls from the school all the time, and it's like, all right, like, I don't mind getting calls, but she does have a team behind her. She does have an individual therapist. She does have an ICC worker. She does have a mentor, and they all have their numbers, and they come to meetings with me all the time. So it's not like I'm alone. And
Exactly.
They kept saying the relaxation room, and Juliana didn't tell me much about it. She just said she hates this room. And like, I've seen the culture room, and finally one day they were like, oh, she's down in the relaxation room. So I was like, okay. I went down, and they showed me this room that had a desk and a window, and it was nice. And I was like, all right. I mean, for her to be in seclusion. And I'm like, all right, well, she's being like out of control, and they need to put her by herself. I'm not going to deny him that right. If she like throwing chairs and stuff, like, okay, I'm not against it. It's the simple fact that when I found out that's not the room they keep her in, and the room she keeps her in is the picture I shared. And
okay, so I'm going to share the picture. I'm going to share the picture because I'm like extremely disturbed. And I know so far we have like 13 people watching, which is great. And I hope that they're sharing this. I want you guys to share this because this is a parent's perspective on the trials and tribulations that we go through in finding ways to bridge the gaps to actually form a partnership with our schools. And it's often a hurdle. It's like literally it's always an issue. And so I'm gonna flip this over and I'm gonna show you guys the picture. So while Ashley talks about the relaxation room, I want you guys to, you know, envision this space. Okay, hold on. So I'm showing them the room.
This is the room my daughter tells me she's constantly in. This is where I found my child one day, and the staff is sitting on this side of the door, and they're just sitting there and watching her in this room. And they're like, well, she ripped the poster off the wall. And I'm like, well, the poster's not my issue. The room's my issue. Now, if a child needs a seclusion room, okay, cool. But the room itself is unsanitary. It's dirty. Like,
it looks disgusting.
It is. And like, she doesn't even make it to the culture room half the time. They have a culture room which has a bunch of sensory stuff, a bunch of awesome stuff that would help her calm down. And I've told them on numerous times she needs more. Like, a snack calms her down, or a walk around the school calms her down. They're like, well, she's unsafe. I understand that. If you need a room to keep her in until I can get there and get to her, all right, but this is not the room you should be keeping any student in. And it's not that I'm out here saying, oh, my kid, my kid, my kid. It's all the kids in this school have seen this room. And when you're on an IEP or a 504 plan, there's only an amount of limits that you're allowed to be alone in a seclusion room. And Lance told me she spent most of her days in here, like a good chunk of day, and over an hour is unacceptable.
So that's, you know, and that's because part of, you know, special education laws, rights, policies, and, you know, all that jazz is that when a child is spending more time out of the classroom setting or out of their classroom, they're not accessing the general curriculum, right? Which means that your child does not have the ability to catch up and stay on task and be able to kind of, you know, flourish educationally. So if she's spending more than half of her days in that classroom, obviously that's a huge issue because it's alarming, right? One, because there's something that's triggering her and they haven't found out what is triggering her. And so you having to also go pick her up is also in addition to a violation because she's spending time out of the classroom. Now you have to go pick her up and bring her home. The reality is that she's not accessing the general curriculum. And that's part of faith. That's part of idea. So it, you know, it gets into a whole bunch of violations of your child getting the education that she's rightfully owned under the Free Appropriate Public Education Act. So you know, I don't, you know, a lot of people, you know, are saying, you know, that the room is disgusting. They're questioning about the chair. because the chair is clearly broken. So either another child broke it or whatever the case may be. It's just, how do you feel as a special education parent? How do you feel the school culture is in your school? Do you feel like they're hearing you when you're like, listen, I have an issue. Like, why you guys keep calling me up here? Like, do you feel like your voice matters? Like, how do you feel the culture is in your school for special education?
Honestly, I've asked for so much. I've asked and asked and asked. I'm like, can you give her breaks? Can you give her this? Can you give her that? Give her a rubber band on her desk to keep her moving so she doesn't have these outbursts of energy that cause her to bounce around the room, which then you want to remove her from the room. And then she's like, why am I being taken out? And then once she gets to that point where she knows she's being removed from the room, she knows she's going to the culture room. She knows she's going to the relaxation room. And then she's becoming physically violent with the teachers, which is brand new. This is a new thing for her. And she started hitting staff because she's like, Mommy, I don't want to go to the relaxation room. And I know they're taking me there. So I try to run away. And then I hit the teachers. And I'm like, well, what do you want to do? And she's like, I don't want to go to school no more. They're mean to me. They're very, very mean to me. And I'm like, well, you know, I've tried to be so nice to these teachers and to the principal. And they're like sweet. They're very, very nice. But it's like, everything I say falls on deaf ears. And it's like, on to them so many times, can you please do this? Can you please do this? If you guys aren't capable, transfer her to a school that is capable of dealing with her. And they're just, it's like, when I revised her 504, I asked for a lot. And all they did was give her 15-minute breaks all day. And it's like, if that's all you can offer her, why is she here?
So I'm just, and I know that when I talked to you earlier, I know that I had some questions around her having a diagnosis of, you said ADHD, right?
Yes, ADHD. She's been diagnosed with motor behavioral disorder and severe PTSD.
Okay. So which all fall, right, not to cut you off, which all fall under the umbrella of social emotional. So remember that I mentioned to you that I'm confused that she has all these diagnoses that are under the social emotional piece, and she's on a 504 plan, because most kids with ADHD or any type of mental health associated diagnosis legally belong under an IEP, not a 504 plan. And, you know, as we sat here, you know, before we jumped online, you know, I kind of pulled up all my, my stuff around what the difference between an IEP and a 504. And clearly, you know, I'm going to turn it around and show you guys that ADHD it falls under social emotional.
Yeah.
And that's an IEP, not a 504. And so we all know that there's a huge discrepancy among special education where 504s are usually not honored. And you know, they're not honored, whereas an IEP is a legally a binding contract, which by law is a contract that they have to follow. So to me, everything that you're talking to me it's causing a major, like, my head is like, I'm furious because all the support that she needs, she's not getting because it's not under her 504. And what she requires an IEP, which is a little bit more lengthier, and it has goals and everything that will allow them to make sure that she's able to access the general curriculum and be part of the school culture.
And
so that's the issue.
When we did the original testing for her 504 plan, the Lawrence Public Schools can no longer find the files for those. So they say she has never been tested. They have no idea where those files are. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot.
Interesting.
Like, just with Juliana, they know she has all these issues. They know she's on disability and that we see neurology. In the last 2 years when she's been at the Arlington, she has had rhabdomyolysis twice, which is a muscle degeneration issue. And it's like I have to fight with them to send, like, give her water bottles. And it's like the lead issue in the schools is another thing. And they don't address that until I went in there screaming and yelling. And it's like, I shouldn't have to do this. Like,
and so I'm going to show our viewers, because a lot of we have a lot of people who are asking, let me kind of go back. I know that one person asked if you've spoken to Mayor Rivera and your elected officials.
Nope.
Nope. Okay.
He's
So
been tagged on the post.
So they've been tagged on post.
He's
okay.
been tagged on the post. They know it's around. I mean, I forget his name. I think it's Hernandez has contacted me, the public safety.
Yeah.
He's fantastic. He was very, very nice. And I have talked with the Lawrence Police Department. I have talked with DCF.
Okay.
I have contacted who I have, and I will continue to contact people until something is done about this, because the lower school knows about the relaxation room. The upper school has no idea. I've had teachers comment on it and be like, this is not a classroom here. And I'd be like, yes, it is. It's in the lower school. And they're like, we don't even know about that. We've heard of it, but we've never seen it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like they're hiding this room downstairs. They'll show you there's 3 relaxation rooms. My daughter they showed me the one with the desk. Then I seen this one on the phone. And then there's another relaxation room, which my daughter has spoke about, but I've never seen it. So it's
yeah, because I'm reading the thread, and it seems like a lot of parents, and I'm curious to know if other parents have experienced this, because when I was reading the thread, it seems like most parents were only aware of those 2 relaxation rooms. So when you posted the picture, everybody's like, wait, what's going on? And even one of my cousins lives in Lawrence, and her son actually happens to go to your daughter's school, and she's like, she was like, I never knew there was this such room. And I'm like, I'm wondering, do you know if other parents have had this experience? Has anybody reached out to you to tell you?
I have some friends, and as I see Julia's comments on it, lead in the school water, they have actually dealt with the lead in the water since then. I made a big deal about it back in the day, but it was like all of schools in Lawrence had issues with it. And it's not just the Arlington, but again, the Arlington isn't the only issue. It's other schools too. We don't know if these kinds of rooms exist in the other schools.
It's true. It's so true. And so, so I'm going to turn it around, guys, because I'm still floored that Ashley's daughter has a 504 and not an IEP. And I'm going to turn it over to you guys. And I'm on the Massachusetts website, the Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. And I'm on the educational laws and regulations. And I have not found any policies and procedures around relaxation rooms and any policies and procedures behind that. So I know something happened. I think she came off. Hopefully she's going to come back on. Until she comes back on, I'm going to turn it around, guys, and I'm going to look at and see let's see if we can find some laws around this, because I don't think I've ever seen any laws around relaxation room, Okay, so I'm gonna
Sorry,
I have it turned around. That's okay.
I'm like,
so
no.
I'm around, and I'm looking at the definition. So all this information you can find on DESE, on the Department of Education and Secondary Elementary and Secondary Education. And I am going to look at, and I'm going to show you the criteria. Disability means one of the following impairments. So you see that autism is one of them: developmental delay, intellectual impairment, sensory impairment, hearing impairment, deaf, vision, deaf, blind, neurological impairment, emotional impairment. I mean, don't all these kind of sound familiar to you?
They do. These very
communication impairment, physical health, specific learning disabilities, which is ADHD and things like that, dyslexia, And so I'm a little confused as to how your daughter is having all these behavior concerns, and your daughter is on a 504 and not on an IEP, which is a little bit more extensive in terms of getting her the help that she requires educationally. So I don't. I'm and I'm kind of reading through like placement and option services, and I don't see anything about relaxation rooms as part of policies and procedures, or this just like an accommodation versus a policy procedure. I don't. I mean, I don't know. Like, how does your daughter feel about this? Most importantly,
She doesn't want to go to school. And like the school system, I requested the IEP testing again, and they finally sent the FBA paperwork home, and it's like, it took this long, but you guys know she has issues, and like they want. I keep asking them. They're like, if she's abusing teachers, they should have requested outside testing. So, like, you could tell she has issues, and they know all the history of the domestic violence that we went through, and that it's caused severe PTSD. The child cries. Like, she has wicked bad PTSD issues, and you're sticking her in a room where she's petrified of being alone, and you're sitting on the outside of the door, she's freaking out. And she has sensory overload issues, where she did go to OT, and she used to go once a week, and they know about that. And I've made sensory boxes with their staff, and her family therapist. It's like,
and so even your daughter feels some type of way about that. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, that room looks like it's unsanitary. I mean, it looks like it's probably growing mold somewhere in that room. Disgusting. The floor looks damp, like some type of water or something.
I don't know if it's like not sealed. It's like, it's a basement. Like, the classrooms are down there on the other end, and you have to go in a classroom and go through a classroom to get into this room. And
so it's like a secret room.
Yes, it is very secret. And I went down there. I was like, I'm going down there. I don't care. And whoever taught me, kids try. And
wow, my
niece just got in the car, and she can tell you, when she was in her grade, she went to that room, and she had to sit in that room.
Are you serious? Definitely tell your niece to help to share and shed the light, because I love it when it comes directly from those that have been affected by it, both on the parent level and on a student level, because that to me is ridiculous. Like, I'm still floored that, parents have not been on an uproar or rallied against this room, because to me,
don't know.
Exactly. And so I'm glad that you're doing this, because I guarantee you so many parents probably don't know about this. And Julia mentioned trauma-informed classrooms, because we don't have trauma, and we don't have that. We don't address that topic. And that room, for me, just looking at the picture, I felt traumatized, and it was like, are we really putting kids in that classroom? Are we really putting a kids in a room that looks like a jail cell? Because that looks like a jail cell. And I don't see how that room can actually be conducive to having someone relax in it. I get the concept of, being away from, whether it's colors or any type of things that you can break. I get it. But there's a difference between a complete isolated room that looks like a jail cell versus a room who may have a nice cushioned couch, a beanbag of some sort, something fluffy, like you and I talked earlier, maybe a wall that they can touch that has different textures, or something of that sort is what I would think, would be a relaxation room. I'm assuming your town has CPAC, right? Lawrence has CPAC, the Special Education Advisory Council. it's for parents. You don't know about that?
No. They invite us to like meetings about special needs and IEPs and all that like once a week, but I'm in school and I've told them this. I'm like, I have class and I can't miss class. I'm a single mom. I'm trying to get a degree so I can support my children. And it's like, they're just like, whatever.
Yeah. So, and you raise another topic where, you know, there are parents who want to be involved in the conversation. It's, you know, we want to be part of all the things that are happening regarding, you know, special education. But unfortunately, some of the times that these meetings happen, or, you know, whatever, it's either we have to work, or we're in school, or we have other children that we have to take care of. So then we got to think about childcare. And if we miss work, who's going to feed our babies?
Yep.
How are we going to pay the bills? Because, you know, I highly doubt that we all, you know, if most of our kids are in public education, you know, 9 times out of 10, all of us don't have the expenses to put them through private school and put through this amazing, you know, school. And I don't understand why I even have to pay to send my child to school, because this is, you know, it's public education. It's free. You know what I mean? Like, when do we have to pay most importantly, why do we have to pay for quality education?
It's true. And like, most of the parents out here won't stand up. Everybody knows Lawrence is the immigration town. Like these parents won't say anything. They won't do anything because they're in fear that, you know, someone's going to come in and take them away. And it's not fair. It's not fair that all these kids come here and they don't have equal opportunity. And like, the school is a fabulous place. Like, I can't knock the school completely, because like some of the teachers there are amazing. They do a lot. They do have after school programs. They do have a lot to give. But when it is like, just because you guys offer so much, should I overlook how you're treating my child when she's having behavioral issues? No, I can't. I'm sorry, you can't lock my child in your dungeon. I mean, if it was a clean environment and you were necessarily needed to put my child in a safe zone where she needs to be alone, okay, I understand that. But it needs to be clean, it needs to be safe, and that is not clean and that's not safe. That's my big issue. It's like your pros and cons are weighing out, and your cons are starting to come out. It's like, you can't hide this from parents. You can't show this to parents. You need to show everything to parents when they're walking through your school. And they don't talk about this in special, like the meetings for special needs. And when I go, not for nothing, I'm Spanish, yeah, but I don't speak a word of Spanish. When I'm sitting there, I'm like,
It's true.
I don't speak a word of Spanish. So being in the meetings kind of defeats the purpose, because they don't really talk English. And yeah, I'm in a city that speaks all Spanish. I don't care. Whatever, I'm Spanish. Yeah, I don't speak Spanish. Whatever.
Yeah, a lot at the end of the day is a high population of Latinos.
Yeah. And I love my city, but it's like, I guess I'm a minority here. I don't speak Spanish, but
yeah, but I mean, I get where you're coming from. So you do say that they do have CPAC. I'm assuming, do you know if they have an active PTO, a parent council?
They do have a PTO. They do.
So they have all those in place. But like most working parents, you aren't able to access. Do you, when they have these meetings, do you ever get any emails to let you know, hey, this is what we talked about? What's your input? So no follow-up. So
you get a letter stating that they're having the meeting, but I don't think I've ever received an email from the school about what happened in the meetings. I mean, I've been to like 2 or 3 of them at least to like see how it was, but it's like everybody just goes and then they have a raffle and whoop-de-doo, that's it. It's like, I don't understand anything that went on because I don't speak Spanish, and then I'm sitting there at the end and like everybody's excited about this raffle, and it's like, oh, so we accomplished nothing. Like,
so we deflect the conversation.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's like,
so we deflect the conversation.
It's great that you're bringing the community together and having like the parents come in and spend time together, but like, what's getting done?
I agree. And so, I mean, you know, Autism Sprinter is here, and we want to support you on this conversation because, like I mentioned to you, I work a lot on trying to find ways for parents and schools to bridge those gaps, because there is a wall that's holding us back from actually having conversations and having dialogues that oftentimes, you know, parents and SPED, it's like it's a continuous fight. And at some point in time, we have to find a way to meet each other halfway. And meeting each other halfway is that room is not acceptable. That room doesn't even seem sanitary. And it's a room that has not been made public, that other parents are aware that there's a third, not one, not two, but a third so-called relaxation room that is hidden past all the other relaxation rooms. So,
yeah,
you know,
I gotta
I
explain where it is, and it's like you have to go through a room, through another room to get to this room, and it's like she's like, it's worse, and I'm like, there's worse than this room? What do you mean? So I'm just like, I'm horrified. Like, you're a great school, you got great ideas, but you're not executing anything, and you're allowing the spaces to be disgusting, and that's my main issue here. Everybody deserves equal rights, and all the students in that school deserve the ability to thrive. And with conditions schools in, they're not going to thrive.
It's true. And I know that you said that your niece was there, so I don't know if she wants to chime in and kind of tell us a little bit if she's okay with talking, even if she doesn't want to get it on the camera, even if we can hear her. I want her to share, like, how does she feel being in that room? Because I want to know.
Yeah.
Hi.
What's up? How are you?
I'll take her off just because I don't want the school to like give her any.
Exactly.
I don't want the school to give her a hard time because she spoke about it, and I don't want anybody to have any repercussions because they do stand up about this. And if the school has an issue, the school can come to me directly, and I will deal with it. At the end of the day, I'll be the advocate for all the kids. And my niece has said, you know, you read online and it says 30 minutes is the mandatory, like, max.
Yeah.
You need more than 30 minutes. The parent needs to be contacted. More than one kid and more than one parent has messaged me and been like, my kid has been left in there for hours. And it's like, that's my concern. So if Lawrence Public Schools wants to directly message me and talk to me about my posts and about what I've said and what I've exposed, then they can, because no child should be treated any way because of their actions, you know?
And what do you want to accomplish about speaking in your truth and sharing this? Like, what do you want the school to officially know about why this is so concerning to you?
It's the safety issues, and like it's not fair that these kids are telling us this and we're not realizing what they're saying, or we've never seen it so we don't know. It's like the school brushes it off like, oh, we sent them to the relaxation room. They make it seem like such a great place, but it's not. And when I said something about it the first time, I was like, you know, I don't want my kid down there. They were like, oh, well, it's not supposed to be a pleasant experience. Okay, and I understand that, but it's not supposed to be an unsanitary one at that.
Absolutely agree. I 100% agree with you. And as I mentioned, Autism Sprinter is here, and we want to support any movement you want to do. You let me know what you want to do, and best believe I'm there. And I guarantee you, I'm going to introduce you to Julia via Messenger, because this chick is thebomb.com. And so I want you to meet her. She is from C-Plan. And, you know, like I told you before, you know, I want to support you in this, and I want to introduce you to my other collaborators of networks. And let's see what we can do to kind of help you around this conversation, because I know for a very long time I've been wanting to, you know, go to Lawrence, because I know that Lawrence has a lot of there's a lot of concerns around Lawrence and special education, specifically based on the fact that it services a large population of Latino families whose English is a second language. And so, you know, I'm going to reach out back to you after this video. Let's share this. Let people know that this room is not acceptable. If there's other ways that we can find for our children to relax while they're having a meltdown, or if they're having any aggressive behavior or whatever the case may be, let's put them in a real relaxation room, not a room that appears to be a room of an asylum of some sort, or even a room that looks like a prison cell. I think that this is traumatic because, again, looking at this picture, I was in complete disbelief that this would be even considered a relaxation room. And I get it, fire hazards, that certain things can't be on the wall. I get all those, you know, NAYC, all that. I get all those policies, procedures, and fire hazards. I get all of that stuff. I just don't understand it. I just don't understand how that room actually relaxes someone, because to me, I feel like my anxiety would be through the roof, and I would feel like I'm a person, like I would feel like a caged animal in there, because I don't see a window. I don't see how a kid can actually look out the window.
There's no window.
Yeah, and I'm like, so if I want to relax, like, what if I'm one of those people that likes to stare at the clouds? Because I'm one of those people, when I zone out, sometimes I look out the window and just look at the clouds. Like, so I can't look at the clouds. I can't.
Or paint them on the wall. Like,
you know what I mean? Or like even have a dry erase paint on the wall where the kids can take a dry erase marker and draw while they're angry. I don't know, but just and in addition to that, they're talking about relaxation room, and the first thing that most parents on this thread are saying, the chair is broken. So if your child is a child who self-harms and has, you know, it's prone to wanting to hurt themselves, she could have easily took that chair and try to like scratch her skin on, you know, on the broken part of the chair. You know what I mean? So, or even just getting up from the chair or throwing the chair or whatever the case may be. I don't see how this is kind of conducive to relaxing someone.
Yeah.
I don't see it.
When I heard relaxation, I was like, fluffy rub.
Yeah, me too.
And I was like, oh my God, what is this? So yeah, it's sad, it's depressing, and like it would be a great school if they could offer a little more, like, you know, at least take out the relaxation room, make it a better spot, like redo it, give the kids something to like actually relax.
Exactly. I agree. Well, you know, I appreciate you, you know, taking the time to talk to me and, you know, sharing this with the masses. Let's share this video, because I want people to legitimately hear your story, because I think sometimes we post and a lot of people have their own opinions and, you know, whatever the case may be. But I think it's better when you hear it from the source. Why do you feel this way? How this is impacting your life, and how simply, you know, we as parents really just want to be partners. We want to be your partners. We want to make sure that this room doesn't exist. And if this is one of your room, can you talk to us about that? Let me know that this room exists. And if I don't like it, how can we work together to make sure that we turn this into a relaxation room for real? And so, you know, one of my friends said, Mia said, thank you for, you know, sharing and being so transparent.
And I want a lot to everyone for sharing and commenting and messaging. And I want to thank everybody who's been involved with this whole situation. I want to thank you for everything you've done for me and Juliana. And Juliana I don't talk about it in front of her because I don't want to stress her out.
Exactly.
But she is grateful for everybody that has been here for us, and for everybody who has shared and commented and everything. Thank you very, 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 very much. It means a lot that you guys are backing us up about this. I don't want to shut the school down, but I do want something done about this room. So
I hear that. So, okay, question. I know a few people are inquiring, do you have an advocate?
I don't.
So anyone on this thread, that if you know of an advocate and a special education lawyer, please, pretty please, with cherries on top, can you please drop it down, right? Drop it down, or send my girl a message, because she's going to need an advocate. I know based on, you know, your post, it's already been, let me see, it's already been, look how many times this has been shared.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like,
I'm kind of sad that we got the most likes and shares on my profile, but I mean,
I know.
I mean, it's so negative, and I'm like, wow, like, this is exciting. But you know what? As long as my kid gets some justice, and the kids at the Arlington school get some justice and get what they deserve, then so that's all I want. All I want is for them to have a pleasant school experience, because when you don't enjoy school, you don't want to go.
Yeah, and like we talked about that earlier when we talked on the phone, you know, school it's the foundation of our future. You know what I mean? So if we don't get quality education, and we don't have, you know, we don't have positive relationships with people who are educating us, or, you know, as parents, if we don't have positive relationships with those that are educating our kids, you know, our kids are not going to be academically successful. You know what I mean? And we want our kids to, you know, potentially navigate through college and, you know, super exceed what we've been as parents. You know what I mean? And so if we're not giving them that opportunity, we're not giving them an opportunity to life and how to want to be different and enjoy life. And you know, to me, you know, I don't know, like, you know, I'm all about letting schools know that we don't want to have a problem with you guys. We want to sit at the same table with you guys and have these conversations and tell you our opinions, our ideas, and how we can work together to make this happen. Because, you know, it's public school. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like, I can't complain about the whole school because some of the staff is amazing, and like, there's just issues among the school that needs to be worked at, and like, I can't complain too much about it. Like, I love some of the staff, I love some of the teachers.
See, that's amazing.
Teachers are amazing. They're always there for you. They do everything for you. I mean, the principal has done a lot for me. And it sucks that I had to share it because I don't want to give them a bad look. And I don't want to make the school look bad. But that room is horrible.
And see, and I appreciate that, because I think, and remember how we talked about this too, that I told you, is that, you know, us exposing some of our things on social media sometimes they might think that we're coming at them in a bad way. And I think that I always tell my son's teachers, like, listen, I'm very straightforward. You know what I mean? And I want the same in return. You know, if I have to discipline my kids and if they're behaving in ways that they shouldn't, I will hold myself as a parent accountable and make sure that my kids are held accountable. But at the same time, make sure that you're also holding yourself accountable in making sure that my child is able to get the education that they deserve under their, individual educational plan that's a legally abiding contract. You know what I mean? So if you're calling me every day to go pick them up, I mean, that doesn't seem like we're meeting each other halfway. It seems like you guys are kind of washing your hands, and it's kind of like, but my kid still has to learn.
Yeah.
This is
like,
civil.
I'm the type of parent,
you know what I mean?
I'm the type of parent that went out and bought them Christmas gifts. Like, I have little gifts for the girls' teachers. Like, don't get me wrong, I love their teachers. Their teachers are sweet, but at the end of the day, I don't agree with the room, and that's it. Like,
and that's right, and that's okay. And so, again, I appreciate you. I love this, and I think once you get off and you read the comments, a lot of people agree with you and with us. And like I said, I'm gonna follow up with you. I'm gonna call Julia when I'm done with this, because I want to talk to Julia and see how we can come out to Lawrence and see how we can help you around this.
Yes.
And so you got my number. Let's chat. And again, I appreciate you. I really, really do. And I want to, bow down and say, I think you're awesome, because we don't have enough parents who are willing to speak in their truth. And I appreciate that.
Thank you so much for everything. Seriously. Thank you.
All right. All right, guys.
Bye.
Bye.